Good evening, and welcome to the Oaklander. I'm your host, Al DiGiacomo. The first item on hand tonight is a videotape sent to the Oaklander. As you may already know, the 100-year-old bridge on Glen Gray Road collapsed due to overloaded dump trucks in early October. So let's see what's happening as the construction crews build a new bridge.
This view was taken from the front of my property, the northwest corner, showing the eastern approach to the bridge and the temporary roadway, and spanning the full length of the bridge to the other side. I'm going to zoom in on the masonry work on the other side, the original masonry work of the old Glen Gray Road Bridge. Which has been spot welded to the supporting girders, and on top of which I understand there will be poured concrete, and then the ultimate surface is going to be blacktop.
The producers are most appreciative of whomever sent the tape capturing the construction of the new bridge over the Ramapo River. And to any other video bugs out there, if you have a video of current events in town, send them to us, care of the Oaklander, P.O. Box 312, Oakland, New Jersey. Beware, because casual contact can be extremely catchy. Our first guest tonight has been an Oakland resident for 32 years. He shares a quest for knowledge, and the same can be said for his involvement in civic activities. He is now committee spokesperson for the Community School of Oakland. To tell us more about the Community School of Oakland's expanded curriculum for 1996 is Bill Cole. Well, welcome to the Oaklander, Bill. And thank you for that videotaped portion of that new bridge being built there. Before we talk about the Community School of Oakland, Bill, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Oh, yes, Al, I'd like to. As you stated, I've been a resident of Oakland for 32 years, and I would say that possibly my involvement with adult education is a far cry. Goes back to England when I was with the 8th Air Force during World War II. I was a supply sergeant with a quartermaster company. Now, if you can think of anything more redundant than a supply sergeant with a quartermaster company, I wish you would. So I was volunteered to attend an information education course in London at the Scala Theatre to tell the troops back at the base why we were there. This just happened shortly about 3 or 4 weeks after VE Day. At that time, buzz bombs were falling, and everybody had a very large right ear. That was my first involvement with adult education. And then after we were married and settled in Paramus, my wife and I joined the Central Unitarian Church, and I was a member of a committee, or I should say the chairman of a committee, plugging the United Nations. It was for the United Nations, and we were trying to convince a lot of people to support the United Nations in their attitudes. And then after that, after I retired, in 1982, I became a teacher in adult education in Midland Park High School, also in Hasbrook High School and Saddlebrook High School, teaching essentially at that time introduction to computers. Ultimately, it evolved upon Midland Park High School, where I taught for 10 years. I would have been teaching there past 1992, but my wife took sick, and she was sick for about 3 years. She died in 1994, and after a while I became restless. I want to get back into teaching again. So now I'm teaching with the Oakland Community School.
So you're looking to expand the Oakland Community School to more or less serve as a hub. You mentioned the Midland Park system as a very extensive system.
Exactly, exactly.
And do our neighboring towns such as Ringwood and Wyckoff, do some of the other towns that we have here offer evening adult courses?
Pompton Lakes did. They discontinued it, and we're hoping to draw from Pompton Lakes. Ringwood has no adult education courses, nor has Franklin Lakes. And so we're hoping to draw from Franklin Lakes and Ringwood. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Wyckoff also does not have an adult education system. But we're hoping to draw from these towns as well as, of course, from Oakland. And of course, what we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage as many people as possible. And the courses are not offered not only for adults, but they're offered for children. They're all ages.
Tell us about some more of the courses that
Okay. The courses run the gamut from arts and crafts to education, health courses such as CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and Red Cross course, sponsored by, both of these are sponsored by the Red Cross, in babysitting. This is essentially for teenagers. In other words, to teach a teenager what is to be expected of him and how he should behave in a responsible manner when he's babysitting to earn some money.
Could you tell us some of the courses that are currently being offered and where the classes will be held? And
Yes, I will. The courses, well, they run the gamut from arts and crafts to excursions and trips, and everything in between, educational courses, health courses, hobbies, of course, which includes arts and crafts. Pardon me. And let me just refresh my memory by taking out our catalog, our brochure.
Sure.
By the way, this brochure was mailed to everyone in Oakland, and I'm sure everyone has it, and they can refer to it. So that briefly, let me just run down the major
Sure,
categories:
I'm sure our audience
arts,
would,
crafts, and dance. Language, arts, and communications. By the way, this language, arts, and communications includes ESL, English as a Second Language, which we think is extremely important to offer as an adult education course to the people who may be working in Oakland or may be living in Oakland who are struggling to brush up or attain some degree of English conversational. Business and finance, health and well-being, sports and disciplines, computers, which is what I teach. Kids and teen time, and of course kids and teen time, as I mentioned before, include the babysitting course and the CPR, both of which are sponsored by the Red Cross, and special interest courses and trips and excursions. And our trips and excursions take place primarily in the months of April and May, March, April, and May. All of the courses, with the exception of the computer courses, are given in the Valley Middle School. The computer courses are given in the Indian Hills High School in the PC lab. Susan Luftig teaches word processing, and I, in the PC lab, will be teaching Introduction to Computers and Advanced Disk Operating System. And ultimately, as we go on, we will open up more and more courses, because what we'll be doing, we'll be polling our own classes to find out what they are interested in and what special applications they would like to teach. So essentially, this is the whole idea behind the Oakland Community School.
well, I understand that you've got quite a background in computers spanning some 30 years. Could you tell a bit more? And I understand that yesterday, February 14th, was the 50-year anniversary of the computer.
That's right.
I
The ENIAC was demonstrated for the public demonstration for the first time in the University of Pennsylvania on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1946. ENIAC stands for Electronic Numerator Integrator Accumulator. It occupied a room of 1,800 square feet, and I think there was about 7 or 8 tons of equipment there, and it was essentially vacuum tube driven. To give you a comparison, the ENIAC had 1/36,000th of the computing power of a laptop computer today.
A lot has happened in 50 years, but you started back in 1965.
63.
63.
Actually, I started back in 1954 when I was working for Mergenthal Linotype. We were developing the equivalent of a hot metal line casting machine in the form of something we call linofilm, which is essentially an electronic photographic device. And at that time, in 1956 it was, the computers were in the realm of mostly research. There were a few IBMs that were available for public utilization, but essentially they were all special purpose digital circuitry to perform special operations. And then ultimately, as they became more and more popular.
What were you working on with Mergenthal?
I was working at Mergenthal. I was engineering administration. And in addition to that, I was also doing documentation for the linofilm, which was the first photocomposing machine that was developed essentially for newspapers and for print shops. After I left Mergenthal Linotype, what happened was I decided that it was time to broaden my knowledge of computers, so I attended a school in Manhattan and studied the IBM 1401. Now, the IBM 1401, believe it or not, was the most popular general-purpose computer back in the middle 60s. There were a fantastic number of IBM 1401s, 14,000. 14,000 as opposed to 46 or 47 million PCs extant in the United States today. So this gives you an idea of how the industry has grown. So from that point on, directly or indirectly, my entire professional career has been centered around computers one way or another.
Bill, we're going to hold that thought, and we'll be right back with Bill Cole with the Community School of Oakland after a short public service announcement.
What are you doing?
I'm making shamrocks.
Why are you making shamrocks?
So our parents can hang them up at the big St. Patrick's Day party that the Oakland Education Foundation is throwing on March 9th at the Senior Center. They're doing it for us, you know.
They're having a St. Patrick's Day party for us?
Well, it's for us and for other people in Oakland, but kids are not invited.
Oh, that makes sense. They're having a party for us, but we're not invited.
Don't you get it? The foundation is really just a bunch of volunteers from Oakland who try to raise money that will make education better and more fun for us. They do a lot of good things for the community. They help the adult school get started. They bought that really cool satellite stuff for the elementary schools so we could all learn about weather conditions affecting the whole world.
Oh, I love that. We learn how to predict weather in school. It's easy. You just use the computer. I know. We would never have been able to learn about the exciting stuff if it wasn't for the Oakland Education Foundation.
Oh, so the foundation is trying to raise some more money that they can spend for us?
Well, yeah.
Then I want to help you make shamrocks. Since they do so much for us, I guess it would be nice if we let them know we appreciate it.
I want to help too.
Me too.
Let's all help.
Hey, when and where are they having this party anyway?
They're having it on March 9th at the Senior Center. It starts at 7:30 and goes till after midnight. I heard they have a lot of fun at those parties. They have a D-Day and hot Italian and Irish foods, and you can eat as much as you want from the buffet. They also have beer, wine, soda, and mixers.
I wish I could go. Well, you can't. Only adults can go. Tickets cost $30 a piece and can be bought at any Oakland elementary school.
Do you think a lot of people will go?
Oh, yeah. If there's only one thing about Oakland parents, they really love their kids. I guess us kids really love them, too.
Welcome back to the Oaklander. We're here with Bill Cole, and we're discussing the Community School of Oakland. And Bill, I know that classes have already started for the winter session. This is probably a good time to recruit some new students that are for the spring session. What kind of subjects are you looking to expand?
In my own field, I'm looking to expand upon the introduction to computer courses. As a matter of fact, we're offering something called Advanced DOS, which is Advanced Disk Operating System. And what we're hoping to do is to recruit as many students as possible who have taken my Introduction to Computers course and go on from there to Advanced DOS, and possibly even from there to whatever their special interests are in using a computer, if they have one, or they're considering buying a computer, what their applications might be, and judging on the basis of the response to what their applications might be, offer courses in such things as database administration, spreadsheet programming, even some areas of, let's say, simple programming, such as basic programming, which is a language. Basic is a computer language. And it's going to be primarily by word of mouth, because our catalogs have already been printed, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be polling the classes for their interest in what course they would like to teach, because our schedule, we are very flexible. Despite the fact that our catalogs have been printed, we are going to be able to, by virtue of the versatility of our instructor staff, we're going to be able to teach a lot more courses than what was printed in the catalog. Now, we're hoping in that respect to continually increase our, if you will, our syllabus and the amount of courses that we offer as we go along into the spring semester. And ultimately what we're doing, we're building up for the fall semester, because the fall semester is also a big one, because people are through with their vacations and we want them to come back and they're still primed up, they're still alive, and get them, now that they've had a chance to taste the education, adult education, we're hoping to get them back again in the fall. As far as my course is concerned, as I say, Advanced DOS will be following the Introduction to Computers, and I hopefully will be going into some special application courses there. And incidentally, what I would like to do, and I haven't even mentioned this to Lisa, I would like to offer one-session courses and advice on which computers to buy based upon what their potential applications are.
That is a very interesting course. There's such a plethora of programs and not too many machines,
Yeah.
but the technology keeps expanding, and I think a lot of people would really benefit from a course like that. I'm sure this is an effort that is being undertaken by a group of concerned people in town there. How large of a committee is undertaking this project?
Well, let me refer to our brochure.
Please
okay,
do.
Al? The committee currently consists of Lisa Kay, who is the head of the Community School of Oakland, Terry McKim, Edward O'Brien, Diana Tryon, Frank Lamonaco, and Mary Pellar. Now, and of course myself. I'm a late comer to the committee. I was asked if I'd like to join the committee after I had already been signed up as an instructor for the computer courses. Why not? If I can further getting more registration for my computer courses, sure, I'll join the committee. So in addition to being on the committee, I am also doing some public relations work for them. I've spoken to the Rotary Club, the senior citizens, and I'm also doing some computer work for the school as well.
Has that been going? Has it been well received?
So far, yes. So far, yes, very well received. My efforts have not gone unappreciated.
I also recognized another name inside there. It's actually, it was a girl I had gone to grammar school with. Maureen Cooper is teaching a drama course there.
Really?
So all you would-be actors and actresses out there, Maureen has quite an extensive background in theater, and anybody who has a yen for performing should get involved there, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that. So that's my little personal plug from a former one. Bill, we're just going to wrap this up here. but for someone who has as much knowledge as you, with all your experience in computers, what are the warning signs that you're picking up on the information superhighway? I mean, they just passed that telecommunications bill, and there's also talk of repealing it all already just a week later. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a controversial subject, Al.
I love controversy.
Okay, if you don't mind. From my point of view, I think that the contents of the communications bill, which include essentially censoring any kind of information available on the internet, is a violation of the First Amendment.
Certainly.
No question about it. From my point of view, here's Congress again trying to legislate morality. We tried to do that in 1918 with the 18th Amendment. And what did we get? We got a mob-controlled bootlegging racketeering organization.
For those, that was prohibition.
That was prohibition, exactly. It failed miserably. Franklin Roosevelt repealed it, the 18th Amendment, in 1933. And here we go again, trying to legislate morality. It begins at home. It doesn't begin with Congress. These are my views, essentially.
Education. I think that if we all talk and we all learn from one another, we will develop an open mind.
I agree with you.
What do you say with that?
Absolutely.
Bill, I want to thank you so much for coming down and discussing the Community School of Oakland. We wish you much, much success with you and all of your committee who are involved in this.
Thank you for having me, Al.
My pleasure. And we will be back after these words.
Hello, this is Tom Malden from the Sierra Club with an update on the Ramapo River Club development here in Oakland. Again, we are on the Ramapo River Club property, the 300-acre property, which is slated for approximately 400 houses. At the last planning board meeting on January 25th, the major topic of consideration was the sewage treatment plant. After 2 hours of consideration, it was subsequently approved by the planning board. The other topic which began consideration was the traffic study. The major topics there were the possibility of a light being placed at the Patriots Way and Route 202 intersection, and the possibility of realigning Chuckanut and Patriots Way. And some of the other issues were the overall traffic impacts to Franklin Ave light in town, and in general just the increase in traffic for Oakland residents. The Sierra Club is pursuing a survey of threatened and endangered species for this property. We are attempting to convince the planning board to have the developer pay for such a study. Given the size at approximately 300 acres and the location of the Ramapo River Club property, we feel that a study is necessary. It is located near state forest and county reservation, as well as thousands of acres of open space from other Boy Scout camps. There are the possibility of barred owls, red-shouldered hawks, wood turtles, eastern timber rattlesnakes, and many other plant species that may inhabit this property. So to accomplish that, we are attempting to convince the planning board and the mayor and council to have the developer fund such a study. Everybody also knows in January the severely damaging floods that Oakland went through. We think that this development, by putting roads and houses on steep slopes of the Ramapo Mountains, is only going to increase such flooding. We think that that's an issue that has not been adequately addressed in the planning board meetings and is something that should be fully considered before this development would go through. In January, the Sierra Club also had a meeting with Bergen County Executive Pat Schuber. The topic of consideration was the Ramapo Mountains in Oakland and Mahwah. We were happy to find out that the county is pursuing the development rights for 750-acre Camp Glen Gray property in Mahwah and Oakland, which is adjacent to the Ramapo River Club property. Along with Oakland's application for Green Acres funds to buy the old Camp Todd property, the preservation of the Ramapo Mountains in general has a positive outlook. The Sierra Club is still pursuing a petition signing for the Ramapo Mountains in Oakland, and we are attempting to get at least 1,000 signatures, asking Governor Whitman to preserve the Ramapo Mountains and supply state funding for their preservation. The next planning board meeting will probably be Thursday, March 28th. We encourage all Oakland residents to come to this meeting. We need to show our elected officials and the planning board how much concern there is over this large-scale development. If we're not there, if people aren't there, this will go through and no one will know of your input. Thank you. Goodbye.
Welcome back to the program. For those who've been watching on a regular basis, you may recall the month of March brings a program called Hearts in the Arts to the Manitou Elementary School. This 2-year project is a labor of love that includes many devoted teachers, volunteers, and local artists. With us now are Manitou Principal Barbara Tillman and PTA President Elisa Sisti to tell us about the 1996 Hearts in the Arts and the Gala. Barbara, Elisa, welcome to the Oaklander.
Thank you.
Barbara, what was your inspiration behind the Hearts in the Arts program?
Well, actually, when you said a labor of love, that's what it is. But I think the inspiration came from a lot of people. The New Jersey State Department asks every year that a school comes up with 2 school goals. And when I brought that to the faculty and to a committee in the school that is comprised of faculty and administration and parents, unanimously, everybody wanted a goal that had to do with the arts. And that was very exciting. And as you know, we have a wonderful recreation program in the town. And we felt that we wanted to bring a balance by bringing in the cultural arts. And everybody in the building and the parents wanted to be involved. And we've talked before about synergy. And there was a great synergy in planning this. And very exciting to find out how many artists there are in Oakland, and how many relatives of parents and faculty there are in the area. And this event, this initiative took on a life of its own. And I think we inspired one another.
My compliments. I attended last year's gala, and it was just wonderful. There was just people through the hallways, and everybody was involved in workshops and things. It was wonderful. As an artist yourself, are you finding it easy to capture the children's interest in various forms of art?
I think it is so marvelous to see all of the children loving the events and loving the experiences and not worrying whether they're good in this or good in that. And they're showing such gifts that we didn't even know that they had, and they didn't know that they had. And they love to paint, and they love to paint in different mediums, and they love to dance, and they love to hear jazz, and they love to hear opera, and barbershop quartet, and they are just reveling in the diversity of artistic forms.
Do you find them bringing more deeper expressions to one another as they communicate with their peers?
Well, we want them to be doing that, and sometimes when you want it, you believe it's happening. But one of the things we're going to do this year to see if that's happening is we're going to ask each child to keep a journal during the week.
Wonderful.
And we want them to put down their thoughts about what they've experienced and also their feelings about what they've experienced.
That will be a very good test there. Now, Elisa, you're a 2-timer on the Oaklander. You came down and you shared this event with us last year.
Yes, I did.
And you're on the museum committee, and you can tell us a little bit about it, but I would just like to see if we can show some of what you do as a sculptor, and I think your work is superb. You had another piece there last year that I just absolutely loved. And before you tell us about the museum, could you tell us a little about your medium?
Sure. Well, these pieces here, the 2 pieces together in the front, the bronze and red acrylic, are a puzzle piece that fit together, and they were cast by myself. And the bronze in the back, the woman, That was also another wax form that was cast into bronze. And the gentleman here, this is Harold, and he was basically a model for a larger sculpture I also did in bronze. And so I brought some smaller pieces I was able to carry. These only weigh 20 or so pounds a piece.
How
Yes.
did you get into sculpting in bronze? What?
Well, while I was in college, they had facilities in our building that allowed me to cast myself, and I really enjoyed the whole process of melting the metal. I just found that fascinating, and I just enjoyed the medium a lot, so I just started working it more and more, and that eventually evolved into casting smaller pieces, which turned into jewelry,
Okay.
and that's what I do now.
And so the museum committee is a room that will be set up for local artists who are going to be bringing some of their work in to show people in the community, to show the children that when you work a little bit longer. So are you looking for more artists to help complement this year's museum?
No, we're always looking for new art. What we do is take a classroom and transform it into a gallery, and this becomes the Manitou Museum for a week. And any pieces that are on loan to us, we insure, and they're protected. And the best part is the kids get to enjoy them. And also, not only the children, but any adult that's in the building is allowed to go through. We'll be having docents there to walk through with people. It'll be open on Tuesday night for the Board of Education meeting, and we expect a large turnout because we'll be honoring a teacher that is retiring that evening. So everyone who comes to that meeting will also get to go through our museum. And during the day, the classrooms will all visit, and we're hoping to get more of the artists in to be there when the children come through, because I had a wonderful experience last year when I was just in there by chance fixing something up, and a class came through, and they wanted to talk about what things were and what media was and how they get the print to look like that and whatever. And then we got to my sculptures, and they couldn't understand how like a woman did that welding, and how did you make this out of a big piece of wood, and where is the figure in it? And we got to talk about it, and the kids really enjoyed it. I let them touch because I was there. I said, please handle this. It's, you know, when the artist isn't there, we ask them not to touch, but since I was there, I gave them permission, and we turned the piece around so they could see it from all sides, and it was really a great experience for them, but really, truly wonderful for me. I just love the energy that happened.
It is great. What do the students enjoy most about the week-long endeavor? Is it the hands-on? Is it the just looking at the myriad of art? What do the kids really like about it?
Oh, on one hand, I think there's some kids that love the change in routine. I think there's some children that don't love the change in routine. So I'm not sure what each child likes, but I think one of the things that they enjoy is having people coming in that have accomplished something in their lives that has to do with the arts, and sharing that with them, and knowing that there's a piece inside of them that could be gifted, and they one day could be an artist, and that could be their job, or it could be their hobby. And I think they sort of see in themselves that there's something that can be transformed, where a piece of them, each one of them can be an artist.
Nothing like seeing your two hands create something.
Yeah,
So it gives you a sense of who you are.
yeah.
And Elisa, what role has the local PTA played in the gala and in the event here?
Well, this year we decided to finance it right in our budget instead of having to have another fundraiser to support this. We put it right in the budget, and the PTA is financing it with dollars and also with manpower. And so,
How large is the Manitou PTA as far as working parents and things? When you have a meeting, how many adults do you have?
well, we have 5 parents on the committee, and there's 7 teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so.
But
And then we have-
for each meeting, you mean each
Yes,
meeting
yes,
of the
a meeting.
PTA?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
the PTA?
yes.
Oh, I thought you meant the Hearts and the Arts Committee. For the PTA meetings, we range between 30 and 40 members.
And how many students are in the Manitou school itself?
Approximately 300.
Right, so
Little less
that's
than
about
300.
10% turnout there. That seems very well. And Barbara, what other improvements have been implemented this year? I know last year there was lines of people waiting to get into workshop. I think you've worked out some of the things.
Yes. Actually, we're opening up the second floor, and so we'll have more artists so that the children won't be as crowded in the classrooms, which were just open on the bottom floor. We've decided to do away with all the desserts and all the drinks in the library because we found that the children sometimes would get drawn to the food, and we really want them to just revel in the evening. And we weren't sure how to handle the main events in the multipurpose room, and although it was a great success, we've limited the number of shows there and made them longer. And what we're hoping for is that everybody will converge at the end in the multipurpose room and listen to the last performers, and everybody in the school, the children, all the teachers are there, all the parents are there. It's just a wonderful feeling to listen to those last musical strains with the whole family, meaning the Manitou family.
Well, I'm looking forward to attending the second event here, and we hope that a lot of our viewers, and you don't have to be from Oakland to come down for the gala, right? If you have artistic proclivities, bring them down and express yourself, and I think it'll be a wonderful thing, and it's a wonderful thing for the children. I think that again, I can't impress the amount of effort that goes in through the PTA and through the education, the educators for devoting this for the children at a very formidable age. I think that if you're on the right road now with in regards to developing their understanding and their empathy and their pathos. And
may I just mention one thing to you
Sure,
about it, just to
sure.
let you know how it's touched them. One of the first grade teachers always plays music in her room, classical music, and she plays it very low while the children are working. And they will sit there and say, oh, that's a piece by Mozart, and that's Brahms. And these are little first graders, and that is so touching that they can identify this music, and they're so excited about music, and that they know this, and it's like common knowledge to them.
That's
It's
great.
wonderful.
That's great. Well, I want to thank you both for being on the show tonight, and Manitou Principal Barbara Tillman and Manitou President, PTA President Elisa Sisti. I'm quite sure this will be another wonderful event, and we will return after this public service announcement.
There's an awesome power that can eliminate over half of our nation's defense forces. It's everywhere, and it can strike at any time. Who has this incredible power? You do. If you employ National Guard and Reserve members, you need to use your power wisely, because today, the Guard and Reserve make up over half of our country's defense. So when they need time off to serve, be a hero. Give them the freedom to protect ours.
Welcome back to the program. To continue our conversation about the hearts and the arts, we have Lori Castaldo, who is the art teacher at the elementary school, and Tony Schmeraldi, who directs the music courses. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Pleasure.
Lori Castaldo, how long have you taught the art classes in our elementary schools in Oakland, and what is your favorite medium of art?
This is my 5th year teaching in Oakland, in Manitou and in Dogwood. And I like to work with the ceramics. My specialty is masks, and I work with mask making with every grade level.
What type of masks? Are they African masks or?
A little bit of the cultural masks. I do African masks with the 4th grade when we do our global education unit. And right now I'm working with the 5th grade making ceramic masks and getting prepared for the hearts and the arts with them. I do paper masks with the 3rd grade, all different masks with each grade level. It's kind of my theme.
Kids really enjoy that? Or?
They really enjoy it. We just finished today with the 1 5th grade, Mrs. Arbus's class, working on their masks, and they're really excited about it. We're going to glaze them and decorate them with beads and raffia feathers and put them in the showcase for our program.
In your art classes, do you have a kiln there, and
Yes,
you do the whole thing there?
I have a kiln in both schools. I'm very fortunate, and in fact, I just got a new kiln in Manitou because our other one went a little haywire. And it's great. It's wonderful. I'm very fortunate.
Now, both of you travel from each elementary school and teach your curriculum, correct?
Yes, actually. I'm just in the 2 schools. Tony's actually in
3.
all 3.
Oh, okay. How did you only get to do 2?
Well, my supervisor, Joan, is teaching at Heights and over at Valley Middle School. And John Simonek is a full-time teacher at Valley Middle School. So I'm between the other 2 elementary schools, Manitou and Dogwood.
Okay. And, let's see, Tony, what musical events will be included during the week here? I understand there'll be a barbershop quartet?
Sure. Barbershop Quartet, that's Pat Smith and the Musical Exchange. And they'll be performing Thursday evening on March 21st. They're our final act. They're going to close the evening out. And they're going to do a half-hour Barbershop Quartet segment. Also that evening, opening up the show, we have the Jefferson Township Community Band. They'll be coming down to do a 45-minute concert.
What type of band is a community band?
It's a concert, sit-down concert band. Wind instruments, brass, percussion, and they'll do styles of music ranging from Sousa marches to Beethoven, Mozart, pop show tunes. And like I said, they'll be doing a 45-minute concert that evening. During the week, we have a couple of nice guest artists coming in to perform for the children. We have what we call all school assemblies. And on Monday, the Valley Middle School band will be coming down to perform a concert. Tuesday, and they'll be under the direction of Jack Van Antwerp, the middle school band director. On Tuesday, the choral director, Miss Susan Hartzyker, will be bringing down her show choir. Wednesday, Mary Pullman, the music director and teacher at Dogwood School, will be bringing down the 5th grade group. They'll be performing, they're called the Bell Choir, which is something neat and it's different.
They're wonderful.
I actually had a chance to hear them rehearsing earlier this week, and they were fast. I was fascinated. I was astounded to hear the same kids that I work with in a different environment performing the way they were. It was terrific. And then on Friday, we have a professional jazz band coming in. They're known as Lightning, and they're from the Clifton area, and they perform at a couple of the clubs up in Montclair. Is Trumpets one of them? They perform like in the local jazz bars, and they'll be coming in to do an hour segment for the kids, and they'll be taking the children through a history of jazz and bebop and how it evolved. And
That's wonderful.
They did that last year, and it was fascinating.
Who scattered the talent out? Did you know these folks, or from previous acquaintances, or?
Well, actually, the Lightning Jazz group Barb Tillman had seen.
Okay.
And she was out with her husband, Frank, and came back the next day and said, got to talk to you. Saw this fascinating group last night.
That's great.
We have to try to get them in here, so that's how
We've
that
been very
evolved.
fortunate with volunteers. A lot of the people in the community, artists that are willing to give their time, and very, very fortunate with bands.
What instrument do you play?
I'm a percussionist.
Okay.
Yep. Timpani and...
Were you playing the drums on the tape last year? Was that you?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
It could have been me in one of the segments, sure.
Okay. That's great. Now, Laurie, the workshops last year were of great interest to the kids. What's in store for them this year?
We have all new workshops this year. Nothing will be the same as last year. It's going to be very exciting. We have a batik and tie-dye workshop, which will be very nice.
For our people in our audience who may not be familiar with that, could you elaborate a bit?
Batik and tie-dye are working with colors and wrapping the material so that when you're dipping it into the dyes, you're getting different patterns. And batik is working with the wax, so that you're making a design with wax and then you're dipping it into the dye and removing the wax, and that gives you a pattern there. So we're fortunate to have someone from the community coming in to do that. And there's going to be a polymer jewelry, a clay jewelry course, which is going to be very nice. And also somebody from the community coming to do that. And, what else have I got going? We have the Chinese
art presentation.
Art presentation, that's going to be wonderful too.
Your origami?
No, actually, I do have 3 Japanese artists that are coming over from the Japanese school. There's going to be an origami workshop, and there's going to be Japanese painting, and a calligraphy and origami workshop. So we have 3 of those. But the Chinese presentation is a friend of Tony's, actually. that's going to be, she traveled all over. Actually, you should probably tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, she was on the Art Administrators Association of New Jersey, and I happened to meet her through taking a graduate course. She was teaching the course. And she visited China and took videos and snapshots of children in art classes and in music classes, and actually came home with a whole array of the artwork from the Chinese children. And she's going to share that with our kids and show them what the children in China are doing and how they go about putting art together, and tell a little bit about how their art evolved, like what the children were thinking about that actually made them produce what they produced on paper. It'd be neat.
That's
nice
I think that's a real eye-opener, going to China and bringing things back like that. You know, sometimes that could be a little bit rough, bringing things out of the country like that. But that sounds wonderful. It would be a wonderful thing to put on public access television, too, if I could add.
It's a nice cultural thing, experience for the kids, too.
We're also going to have a wonderful watercolorist, Carol Moyer. She was there last year, but she didn't do the evening gala. She worked with the class during the week, but I'm fortunate to have her this year for the evening gala to do a hands-on workshop with the children, so that's going to be exciting, too.
Well, we're getting short on time. Tony, what special concerts are you planning for the children this year?
At the end of the year, we have a spring concert coming up. I believe the day is May 14th, and it's a neat little situation because we work the 3 elementary schools, Dogwood Heights and Manitou, all towards the same show. I have one rehearsal the morning of the concert where I have the 3 schools come down, combine, we do a dress rehearsal, and then that evening they perform as one mass band. And it's at the middle school in the evening, and it's open to parents, friends, grandmas, grandpas.
Well, this is going to be great. This is March 21st is the gala.
Yes.
Right.
And that will be from 7:30?
7 to 9.
7 to 9. We hope many of our viewers will go down and watch. There's a lot of people putting in a lot of hard work in here. And I thank you both for taking the time for being our guests on the show tonight. We have Lori Castaldo, the art teacher, and Tony Schmeroldi, who teaches the music curriculum. And let's go back to last year's gala for those who were unable to attend here, and we hope you will mark your calendar for this event, and we'll probably see you down there.
Great.
Thanks so much for being our guest tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
The Parent-Teacher Association of Heights Elementary School is sponsoring a fundraising event that will be reminiscent of that bygone era of drive-in movies and blue-collar factory workers. I'm talking about Moonlight Bowling at the Holiday Bowl on Spruce Street. Now, did I mention Moonlight? Because just don't get sleepy on us, all right? It starts at 8 o'clock and runs till midnight on Saturday, March 23rd. Come on out for 3 games of bowling, and don't worry if you're out of practice, because this is fun bowling. That's right, fun bowling. You need not fret over that crucial spare or that 7-10 split. Come out for a good time and a good cause. DJ music, games, prizes, and a hot and cold buffet is included in a price that we can't really say on public access television. So, for more information about this fun and crazy way to support the Heights PTA, call Kelly Enright at 337-8706 by March 15th. Don't forget, call Kelly Enright about bowling at 337-8706. Thank you.
Perfect. Great, you made that.
We're here at TCI Studios to bring you the announcement by FT Snowman that he has thrown his hat into the ring and has joined the race for president. This is quite the unexpected turn of events and has thrown the entire presidential race into turmoil. There has been a report that Frosty was involved in a slush fund to finance this campaign, but he has confirmed to this reporter's satisfaction that indeed his assets are frozen. Frosty has been a model citizen and inspiration to the children of America. He even has the backing of a Mr. Chris Kringle, who said that Frosty is one cool customer who will not back down in the face of adversity, unless, of course, the sun is shining and the temperature is over 32 degrees Fahrenheit. We now take you to TCI Studios, where Mr. Snowman will address the media. For the Oaklander, this is Greg Schuss reporting.
I would like to thank the members of the media for being here today as I announce that I intend to run for the presidency of the United States of America. America needs a new face, and I am that face, a face you can know, a face you can trust, and will lead this nation to new heights of greatness not seen before. Working with a solid team of workers in the farm we know who's naughty and who's nice. We shall rise upon this nation for truth, justice, and one and all, with freedom to let everyone seek out their own destiny. Many have asked me on the campaign trail, what can Frosty do for me? My reply is, what would you ask of a snowman that you could not ask of yourself? Let us join and work together for a better future. That is all we have to say at this time. A vote for Frosty is a vote for America. Thank you, and may God bless you and us all.
Our thanks to all of our guests for being with us tonight. And again, if you have some video of Oakland, we hope you will always keep us in mind. Now that spring is on the way, the Oaklander camera crews will be popping up all over the place. So when you see them, we hope that you'll say hello, because our crew does a great job. For the Oaklander, I'm your host, Al DiGiacomo. We'll see you next time.
Stepping by, all the fellows envy me. They're as jealous as can be when sweet Susie goes stepping by. And every time I take her walking down the avenue, I tell you, people stare and declare, don't they make a happy pair? Fellas sigh and say, oh my, tip their hats and wink their eyes when sweet Susie goes stepping by. I'll tell the world that girl has got a lot of style and grace. Now what I mean is she's a queen, and she's just turned 17, oh, she's the pretty gal that Dad would choose. How can I say I refused? When sweet Susie goes stepping, you can tap your feet when she goes stepping by. When my ever-loving Susie goes stepping.
Blues, 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 blues. I got the blues when my baby left me by the San Francisco Bay. He took an ocean liner and he's gone so far away. But I didn't mean him treat him so bad. He's just the best pal that I ever had. He said goodbye, gonna make me cry. I'm gonna lay me down and die. Ain't got a nickel and I ain't got a lousy dime. And if you don't come back, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. If he ever comes back to stay, it's gonna be another brand new day. Walking with my baby down by the San Francisco Bay. Sitting down looking through through my back door, wondering which way to go. That man I'm crazy about, he don't want me no more. Think I'll take me a freight train, 'cause I feel so blue. Riding all the way to the end of the line, thinking only of you. Meanwhile in another city, just about to go insane.